My partner had a vasectomy 5 years ago during a previous relationship, and now I want to have kids with him. What are our options? So I decided that I wanted to have at least one kid several years ago. I'm 36 now, and I think I was 32 when I really decided that, yes, I want to have a baby. I have a good job, I'm financially stable, independent, I have a lot of good things on my side, but I did not have a romantic partner. So my options were I could adopt, which as a single mom, I think that might be hard. I'm not really interested in adoption anyways for reasons. I could pay for a vial of donor sperm, which, you know, in the age of 23andMe and genetic testing, an anonymous donor may not stay anonymous, but working through an agency was not really what I wanted to do. What I landed on as a solution was that I wanted to use donor sperm, but sperm from someone that I had some sort of friendship with already, and ideally a long-standing relationship with, because that meant that I could get a hold of them. We've probably, you know, been through some difficult conversations already. And I just, you know, after reading on the internet about the experiences of donor-conceived persons, I wanted to offer my child the ability to have a relationship with their bio dad. Fast forward a few years, last fall I started dating someone, and I love him, he's great, obviously, but I was very upfront about wanting to have a kid, and he already has 4 children. And in fact, he had a vasectomy because he didn't want more children. So we were looking up what options we had moving forward. We could obviously do a vasectomy reversal, or we could look into IVF, in vitro fertilization. Not knowing a whole lot about either of those options, I just started researching online, and so did he. This spring, we started to get more serious about making this baby happen. And I work for a corporation with really good health benefits, including coverage of IVF. Now, I have no idea where my fertility is because I've never tried to conceive with someone who hasn't had a vasectomy. So that's a whole mystery. But since I have the option of getting IVF covered for my side of things, I thought, okay, let's look into it. So I found a fertility clinic where I live in Philadelphia, and my fertility doctor said, okay, let's just do some baseline numbers. Let's see like what the numbers relevant to the success of IVF look like for you, and then that can inform your decision on whether you want to go with a vasectomy reversal or do IVF. Note, with IVF, since the vasectomy is still in place, we would actually have to retrieve the sperm from the testicles. It's called sperm aspiration. There's a couple of different procedures that can retrieve sperm, because when you have a vasectomy, it's just cutting the vas deferens, which connects where the sperm are produced to the rest of the semen. So the semen or the sperm are still being produced, they just don't meet up with the semen, which is something I was not really sure about. I didn't know what that was like, but it's overall pretty normal. Maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, I went in for my baseline numbers. And when you do that, you go into the clinic on between your 1st and 4th day of your period. So that's like the beginning of your cycle. And they do an intravaginal ultrasound, which they basically stick an ultrasound wand up your coochie and look around at your ovaries, see how many follicles you have, and just look at overall, I guess, uterine and ovarian health. They also did blood work. So a lot of the baseline numbers that I'm talking about, I don't know what they are. We can get into that in another video, but I got all that taken care of. And when we got the results back, we then had a consultation with my fertility doctor. And what she said was that my numbers are normal for my age, which again, I'm 36. So I'm considered like a mature mom, which is funny. But yeah, I'm not in my 20s. So my fertility is probably it's definitely on the decline. She said that my numbers for my age are normal, but they are on the lower end of normal. What that means for our situation is that if we go with a vasectomy reversal, it could take 6 months to a year for the semen to have normal sperm count, normal sperm motility. And with my numbers kind of on the edge, she recommended that we try IVF first, because in a year I might not be a candidate for IVF because my numbers might be like too low, but right now my numbers are still good. So again, this has nothing to do with my fertility. We have no idea if these numbers are related to my fertility, my ability to get pregnant, but they do have a correlation with the success for IVF. So basically, if we want good numbers for the success of IVF, we should do it now, because in a year they might not be good and it might not be an option for us. And then if for whatever reason IVF just doesn't work, we always have the option to do the vasectomy reversal. That does make me a little bit nervous, just because vasectomy reversals can take a while. And he had his vasectomy it's coming up on 5 years ago, and they say that it's harder to, after 7 years, do the vasectomy reversal and actually have the sperm count and motility get back to normal. We did make the decision we're gonna try IVF first. What does that look like from here? Well, today we have our first nurse consultation. There's 2 nurse consultations before the actual egg retrieval part, which I would love to start in July. My period in July is supposed to start July 6th. It's May 22nd today. And this afternoon we have a telehealth consultation with the nurse to just go over the paperwork, because there's a lot of paperwork discussing, say we get viable embryos and they're frozen. What do they do in the lab in the instance that one of us or both of us die? If we break up, they call it like the dissolution of the relationship. And so we have to make all these kind of legal decisions and then have it notarized before we can really start the whole process. So today, I think that the nurse consultation is just talking about what to expect and also what we need to get done paperwork-wise in order to move forward. Then I have another nurse consultation, the second one, on June 25th, and that's gonna be injection training. I do not do well with needles. I tend to pass out, so there is no way that I'm going to be injecting my own self with a needle. I don't care how small or like, it doesn't matter what the size is. It's just like the concept of a needle puncturing skin is no thank you. So I have gathered a cohort of friends in Philadelphia who have volunteered to inject me, at least for the egg retrieval part. Now, one thing I did not mention earlier is that Justin, my partner, lives in Iowa. So we are in a long distance relationship and trying to do IVF. And that adds just another layer of complexity to this whole thing. And we were thinking that he could do the sperm aspiration in Iowa, we could freeze the sperm and then ship it to Philadelphia, so that when they do the egg retrieval, they could use the frozen sperm and make the embryos. Now, for whatever reason, that's not a very popular thing to do. And so the urologists in Iowa, we just couldn't find urologists in Iowa who were like, yeah, we can do that. We've done that before. So our solution to this is to just have Justin come and use one of the urologists that work with my clinic in Philly. So he'll come out for one consultation in June and then come out for the day of the egg retrieval. And they'll do the sperm aspiration and the egg retrieval on the same day, create the embryos, bada bing, bada boom. We'll see where it goes from there. And then we're on to the next step. I would like to take a bit of a break between the egg retrieval and the implantation, where they would actually take an embryo and put it inside of me so that I could be pregnant. Because I've heard that physically and mentally, IVF is as arduous, as strenuous, as difficult as chemotherapy. And I'm trying to give my body a little break. I don't want to have to move from one thing that's stressful on my body directly into a pregnancy, which is also stressful on my body. So I'd like to take at least a month break. I'm kind of looking at a September pregnancy if everything goes well. And again, that's if everything goes well. If you're on this journey, if you're doing the same thing or something similar, please don't look up things on Reddit. I would say the majority of people on Reddit are posting because they're having a negative experience or they're having difficulty, they're struggling, and they are looking for other people to, you know, validate them or whatnot, which is, you know, great for them, but it is fucking terrifying to read if you're just beginning to get into this whole process. Now, so far, granted, I haven't gotten into the injections, I'm not taking any hormones or anything. So far, the egg retrieval part seems pretty straightforward. I mean, it'll be annoying to do the injections, and maybe the hormones will make me feel awful. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect, but I feel like it's what, 10-15 days of that before the egg retrieval, and then you're done with that part. So I'm kind of feeling like the implantation part is going to be more intense, and I'm a little bit nervous to learn more about that. That's where we are right now. A couple of ending thoughts. Again, I have no reason to believe that my fertility is anything but normal. There's not, you know, rampant fertility issues in my family as far as I know. So I'm really hopeful, and I'm trying to stay as optimistic as possible that we'll be able to do the first frozen embryo transplant successfully. I'm like really excited. I really hope that I can be pregnant by the end of the year. But I also am trying to be realistic. There's kind of a voice in my head. I'm like fighting each other. Like, be optimistic, you know, try to be stress-free because that's gonna make the whole process better, and you don't want the stress to damage the quality of your eggs, which is like its own special hell of pressure, versus like, be realistic, because what does being realistic really mean? It means don't get your expectations too high so that you can avoid as much disappointment in the future. But honestly, if things go awry, I'm gonna be disappointed. So I'm kind of trying to push the like, be realistic voice away and just be like, everything's great, you know? I'm stress-free, everything's good, and I'm just living that lie, at least temporarily, and that's okay. I am, like I said, super afraid of the needly part, but we'll see how bad it is. And I think that having emotional support in the form of, you know, a supportive partner, and even though he's gonna be in Iowa while I'm doing the injections, but also in the form of my friends and my community in Philly, is gonna be super important. I am so grateful for all my friends in Philly, and especially right now for the volunteers, my injectors. You're the best, thank you.